Hi, Hans. So today we're going to talk more about the science behind pole vault, more focusing on the run. Last week we talked about the basics of the pole and how it related to science. And so when talking about the run, we're thinking about the first part of the vault. And it needs to be powerful because the speed that you get from the run is going to maintain you through the entire vault. So it is very important. It's the first part and it's very, very important. So, to give an example, thinking about how this relates in a way to think about it, I'm going to give you an example of like a car crash test. So, I don't know if you've ever watched the cars that they like drive into a wall and they smash to see how where the impact's going to be, where it's going to hit, where it's going to crush, and further on. So when you see a car that's driving like 10 miles per hour and it hits like the cement wall, it doesn't really do much damage. It's kind of just like, it has a little bit of damage on the front, of course, but not very much. But if you see a car going 100 miles per hour smashing into the cement wall, there's going to be a lot more damage. It's going to be crushed, it's going to smash. So you want to be the car that's driving 100 miles per hour into the back of the box. And the box is where you place your pole when you plant. So when you are running, you want to pick up as much speed as possible before you hit that box because you want to be at your top speed when you are hitting that box into that plant. So to start, we want to think about how um, kind of like if you were, I don't know if you ever did this experiment when you were younger, but if you like had to like touch a ball or something and you talked about how like a force was acted upon, I think it was kinetic energy or something, but like the ball stays still unless force is acted upon it, and then it stays in motion until a different force is acted upon it, which is kind of how you are. You want to stay in motion, in that same motion until that other force, which is the box and the plant, you're acted upon, because then that's going to transfer your energy into a different version, a different part of the vault. So I'm not exactly sure the scientific terms on it, but I know that there is obviously science behind it because it's not normal to jump with a big long stick over something. So there's a lot of science involved in it, starting with the run. So you really want a lot of speed with the run. Another thing, when you're running, normally you run like this, right? It's a pretty light jog right now. And then like this is like sprinting, getting faster, whatever. Okay, so you see the difference. Pole vaulting. You have a pole in your hand now. So you're now like this. Obviously, you're going to be stopped right here. This arm cannot swing past. It's not going to give you as much momentum as this motion would because you're not going like this. You're crossing your body. You're holding. Well, my pole right now is 12 foot 6 inches, so I'm holding a 12 foot 6 inches pole, being only 5 foot. Trying to run as fast as I can. So now I have weight added onto me. This awkward hand position where I have to move the pole. But what I do, you get used to it a little bit. So I kind of like bring it out to the side, which I don't know if you're supposed to, but are now able to get more of that motion. See, I'm able to get more of the speed. I can go faster instead of like this. It's really tight, but now you're able to get that speed, go faster. But this is obviously going to be faster. So working with that different obstacle is very tricky. So I'm going to show you the video of me. Once again, it's the same video that I posted with mine last week, but here you can kind of see the swing. See the swing in the arms? And then there's the force. You can kind of see when the force transfers. Here, plant transferred. Okay. Which that's going to be talked about a lot next week. And it's very important, but the run, that is the force that's going to drive you from the very start when you first act upon yourself all the way until you land on that mat. And that's gravity then acting upon you, obviously. So, yeah, it's very important to drive, be that 100-mile-per-hour car smashed into the wall because that's the force that's going to help you actually do the technical stuff in your vault. So, you really need that speed and you need technique to get you that speed. So, I think that that's about it for the run. But yeah, it's has a lot to do with force. Starting out with the run, a lot. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something, and I hope you got thinking about force and how it can be transferred. So I will see you next week talking more about the plant. XOXO.